Picture two apartments in the same city. Same neighborhood. Same rent. But two completely different financial lives. In the first apartment lives someone earning $110,000 a year. Walk inside. Mounted on the wall is a 75-inch television. A leather sectional couch worth $5,000 fills the living room. The kitchen counters are crowded with appliances, most still in their original boxes. Closets overflow with clothes, many never worn. The spare bedroom has become storage for things no one uses anymore. This person checks their bank account with tension in their chest. They are 2 missed paychecks away from crisis. Now walk into the second apartment. This person earns $62,000 a year. You notice something immediately. Space. A modest couch. A practical television. A kitchen with only tools that get used. A closet of clothes that actually rotate. The spare bedroom is still a bedroom. This person checks their bank account calmly. They have 18 months of expenses saved. They invest 20% of every paycheck. Same city. Same rent. Half the income. 10 times the security. This is not a story about income. It is a story about the invisible relationship between possessions and money. It is a story about how we perceive wealth versus how wealth actually functions in the real world. Most people believe that earning more is the only solution to financial stress, but as we see here, income is only one part of the equation. The other part, the part that truly determines your freedom, is how much of that income you are forced to give away to the things you already own. The first person is not irresponsible. They do not gamble. They do not waste money obviously. They simply allowed their lifestyle to expand quietly. One upgrade at a time. One purchase at a time. One convenience at a time. Until eventually every dollar they earn is required just to maintain what they already own. This is the lifestyle trap. It does not feel dangerous while it is happening. It feels like progress. It feels like success. It feels deserved. But the trap is mathematical. More possessions create more maintenance. More maintenance creates more expenses. More expenses require more income. More income invites more lifestyle. And the cycle continues indefinitely until there is no room left for air. The trap is built on the false promise that the next thing will finally bring the satisfaction that the last thing failed to deliver. We are told that we deserve the best, but we are rarely told about the cost of keeping the best in working order. As the house fills up, the bank account empties. As the closet overflows, the mental space shrinks. This expansion is silent and invisible, but its weight is heavy enough to crush even a high earner. Success is not measured by what you can buy, but by what you can sustain without losing your peace of mind. There is a concept that changes how you see every purchase forever. Everything you own costs money twice. The first cost is obvious. The price tag. The second cost is hidden. Ownership cost. Every object requires space, maintenance, attention, replacement, risk, and opportunity cost. Consider a treadmill. You paid $800. But it occupies 20 square feet of your home. In most cities, space costs roughly $40 per square foot annually. That treadmill costs $800 per year just to exist in your home even when unused. Now add maintenance. Add electricity. Add cleaning. Add the mental weight of seeing it daily. The real cost of ownership often exceeds the purchase price within just a few years. We ignore this second cost because it doesn't leave our bank account in one large lump sum. It leaks out slowly through higher rent, higher utility bills, and higher insurance premiums. It steals our time through cleaning and organizing. Every item is a silent tax on our future wealth. When you buy something, you aren't just paying for the item, you are signing a contract to care for it for the rest of its life. Possessions do not just occupy space. They occupy attention. Every item you own creates micro-decisions. Where to store it. When to clean it. Whether to repair it. Whether to replace it. Whether to keep it. These decisions accumulate into cognitive load. Cluttered environments increase cortisol. They reduce focus. They drain mental energy. Owning more does not only cost money. It costs clarity. Your brain is a processor with limited bandwidth. Every physical object in your visual field is a background program running on your mental operating system. The more programs you have open, the slower the system runs. This is why you feel exhausted after a long day in a cluttered house, even if you didn't do much physical labor. Your mind is constantly trying to manage the chaos. By reducing the number of things you own, you are effectively upgrading your brain's processing power. You are reclaiming the energy that was being stolen by your stuff and redirecting it toward your goals and your happiness. Money stored in objects cannot grow. A $17,000 home gym is not just equipment. It is $17,000 that could have compounded. At 7% growth over 15 years, that becomes over $40,000. The real cost of the gym is not $17,000. It is $27,000 of lost future wealth. Every possession competes with your future. Every time you spend money on something that depreciates, you are making a choice to give up the potential growth of that money. You are trading your future freedom for a present moment of ownership. This doesn't mean you should never buy things, but it means you must recognize the trade-off. Is the convenience of having this item in your house today worth the thousands of dollars it will cost you in the long run? For most items, the answer is a resounding no. Wealth is built in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. When you fill that gap with stuff, you are physically blocking yourself from becoming wealthy. Minimalists are not anti-comfort. They are pro-calculation. They evaluate possessions differently. They ask, what does this cost to own over time? How often will it be used? What does it replace? What future does it delay? Most items fail this test. So minimalists own less. Not to sacrifice, but to create margin. Financial margin. Mental margin. Spatial margin. Life margin. They understand that every yes to a new possession is a no to something else. A no to a stress-free morning. A no to a larger investment account. A no to the ability to travel at a moment's notice. The advantage of minimalism isn't just a clean house, it's a flexible life. It's the ability to pivot when an opportunity arises because you aren't weighed down by the physical and financial baggage of your belongings. Minimalists don't see an empty room as a lack of furniture, they see it as an abundance of possibility. Before buying anything, calculate cost per use. Divide total cost by expected uses. A $300 gadget used twice yearly costs $150 per use. A $500 chair used daily for 10 years costs less than 15 cents per use. Price does not equal cost. Usage determines value. This rule eliminates impulse buying instantly because it forces you to be honest about your habits. We often buy for the person we wish we were, the person who cooks gourmet meals every night, or the person who goes hiking every weekend. But the cost per use calculation focuses on the person you actually are. If you aren't going to use it at least 50 times a year, you probably shouldn't own it. This simple math creates a barrier between your emotions and your wallet, allowing you to make decisions based on reality rather than marketing. Look at everything you own. Ask one question. If this disappeared today, would I buy it again? Most answers are no. These items exist by inertia. Past hobbies. Old identities. Gift guilt. Impulse remnants. Items you would not replace have negative value. They consume space and attention without benefit. Removing them increases freedom immediately. We keep things because we think, what if I need it someday? But we ignore the cost of keeping it. Just in case. If you wouldn't spend your current money to get an item back, then that item is essentially trash that you are paying rent for. The replacement test is a powerful way to detach your emotions from your objects. It helps you realize that your identity is not tied to your things. You can be a musician without owning 5 guitars you never play. You can be a chef without a cabinet full of specialized tools. Modern consumption thrives on boredom. Perfectly functional items get replaced for novelty. Phones, cars, furniture, appliances. But function has not failed. Only excitement has. Replacing functional items destroys wealth silently. Minimalists define failure strictly. If it works, it stays. No boredom upgrades. The marketing industry is designed to make you feel dissatisfied with what you already have. They create a need where there was only a want. By sticking to the rule of no upgrade without failure, you opt out of this psychological manipulation. You stop being a target for advertisers and start being a steward of your own resources. You realize that a 3-year-old phone still sends texts and makes calls just as well as the new one. This one rule can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your life. Behavior follows convenience. If spending is easy, you spend. Minimalists create friction. No saved cards. 24-hour waiting rule. No shopping apps. No browsing stores. Impulse requires immediacy. Delay dissolves desire. We live in a world designed for frictionless consumption. With one click, you can buy anything and have it delivered the next day. This speed bypasses the logical part of your brain. By adding friction, you give your logic time to catch up with your emotions. You give yourself space to ask if you really need the item, or if you're just bored or stressed. Most of our desires are temporary. If you wait 24 hours, the need usually evaporates, leaving you with your money still in your pocket and one less thing to manage. Count what you own. Categories shock people. Clothing, shoes, kitchen tools, electronics. Awareness changes behavior. You are not buying a shirt. You are increasing a collection from 47 to 48. Numbers expose excess. When you actually sit down and count that you have 15 pairs of shoes, the urge to buy the 16th pair disappears. It's hard to justify more when you are confronted with the reality of how much you already have. This awareness turns your possessions from a vague cloud of stuff into a list of responsibilities. It forces you to see the scale of your accumulation and makes it much easier to say no to the next shiny object. Most purchases follow enthusiasm spikes. New hobbies. New interests. New phases. Usage declines quickly. Renting tests commitment. Borrowing tests reality. Ownership should follow proof of sustained use. We often buy the gear before we've even tried the activity. We buy the expensive camera before we know if we like photography. We buy the tent before we know if we like sleeping on the ground. By borrowing or renting first, you bypass the fantasy self trap. You ensure that you are only buying things for activities that you are actually going to stick with. This saves you from having a garage full of abandoned dreams and a bank account full of regret. Large possessions create ecosystems. A boat requires storage, insurance, maintenance, fuel, and equipment. A purchase multiplies costs. Minimalists calculate full ecosystem expense before buying. They know that the purchase price is just the entry fee to a very expensive club. A larger house isn't just a higher mortgage, it's more furniture, higher heating bills, more cleaning, and more repairs. Every time you bring a major item into your life, you are inviting a host of other expenses to follow it. If you don't account for the multiplier effect, you will always be surprised by where your money is going. Without a definition of enough, lifestyle expands endlessly. Income rises. Spending follows. Satisfaction resets. Minimalist defines sufficiency early. Home size. Car level. Wardrobe scale. Comfort threshold. Once enough is reached, additional income becomes wealth. This is the only way to win the game of money. If your definition of enough is always 10% more than you currently have, you will never be wealthy, no matter how much you earn. By setting a fixed standard for your lifestyle, you create a ceiling for your expenses. This allows your savings and investments to grow exponentially while your stress stays low. True wealth is not possessions. It is choice. Can you leave a job? Take a break? Move cities? Start something new? High spenders lack optionality. Moderate spenders with margin possess freedom. Freedom is liquid, not material. Money in the bank is a yes to whatever the future holds. A house full of stuff is a no to anything that requires mobility or financial risk. When you choose to own less, you are choosing to be more. You are choosing the ability to walk away from a toxic situation or move toward a dream. Accumulation is gradual. So removal must be continuous. Weekly awareness. Monthly category review. Quarterly adjustment. Prevention beats purge. You don't get cluttered in a day, and you don't stay minimalist by cleaning once a year. It is a constant practice of editing your life. It's about being as careful about what stays in your home as you are about what comes in. This continuous process keeps the weight of possessions from building up and ensures that everything you own still serves a purpose. Less spending leads to more saving. More saving leads to more security. More security leads to less impulse. Less impulse leads to even less spending. This is a reinforcing cycle, a financial flywheel that builds momentum over time. As your security grows, the psychological need to buy things for comfort or status diminishes. You find that you don't need the stuff to feel successful because you actually are successful. You have the ultimate status symbol, peace of mind. The opposite cycle is equally powerful but destructive. More spending leads to less security. Less security leads to stress. Stress leads to emotional consumption. Consumption leads to debt. Break this cycle by choosing the flywheel of freedom. Return to the 2 apartments. The difference was never income. It was ownership philosophy. One accumulated unconsciously. One chose deliberately. Possessions are not neutral. They either support freedom or consume it. Steve is working for his things. Sam's things are working for him, or at least they aren't getting in his way. When you look at your home, don't just see furniture and gadgets. See the hours of your life that you traded to get them and the hours you are still trading to keep them. Every purchase asks, will this expand my life or compress it? Will it create margin or obligation? Will it add function or weight? You are always choosing between objects and options. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of life you want to live. Do you want a life of heavy objects and light bank accounts, or a life of light objects and heavy bank accounts? The choice is made every single day in the small moments before you pull out your credit card. Owning less is not deprivation. It is precision. It is selecting only what serves your life. It is refusing silent financial leaks. It is converting consumption into freedom. The math favors less. So does peace. Minimalism is not about living with nothing, it's about making room for everything that actually matters. It's about realizing that the best things in life aren't things at all. They are the moments of freedom, the lack of stress, and the ability to choose your own path. Choose less stuff, and you will find you have much more of everything else. The weight is gone. The sky is open. The choice is yours.